Hey, so we just wrapped the episode and realized we said we would get into some of your background. People are always interested in people who are on the show, people who work here, like how they got into it. For people that caught it, where we were talking with Dan Perez, who was on one of our earliest episodes, his story was really cool back there. If you want to check out the Down Periscope episode and how he met someone at a swim practice and got re-involved back in cybersecurity and justice from his military background. So, Dominik, we said we'd get to it. How did you get involved in the Flare team?
Well, that's a fascinating story. I used to be a C++ software architect for a digital forensics company named Guidance Software, the makers of NCase. In there, I actually reverse engineered file systems and file structures, and that's how I really fell in love with reverse engineering. One of my team members then went to FireEye, to the Flare team, and he told me how awesome that was. Now, at that point, I had never done any official reverse engineering. I had learned a lot of the techniques myself, done things with a debugger, didn't even have IDA Pro, believe it or not. So, then I worked with Sicko on through his book, PMA. We had a weekly call, and then I interviewed the Flare team, and it was the best interview I ever had, because that was the one interview where somebody asked me about the internals of NTFS and object ID streams. And it was the longest interview I ever had. It was about 10 hours of back-to-back interviews, and I walked away with this. It's like, this is so awesome. I want to join them. And join them, I did.
And you still stuck around even after everyone was like, oh, these guys came from NCase and all the consultants asked you all these specific questions and outside of that, what you want to be doing. Nice.
Painful memories, but awesome memories.
And people might be familiar with Dominik or might not know that they're familiar with him. Maybe because there's like, I don't know, things that look vaguely like him. And Glyer, definitely not them. But they may have gotten to play some of your puzzles. In the Flare On challenge.
Exactly. So another way we got people that are good on the Flare team is by asking finishers of our annual Flare On challenge. And every year we get more and more people competing, and it gets more interesting every year, even for us following everything. The whole team has a blast making these levels. And myself, I've had created an interesting one 2 years ago. It was based on a encrypted web shell. So I threw something together and I had a blast making it. And apparently people had a blast solving it too.
I don't know if we've ever talked about that. Like, how long do those take to create, or does it vary for the different Flare On challenges?
It varies wildly. So some of the samples, like mine, that was 2 days of work, that web shell one, and some of the Flare On challenges, particularly some of the last ones, they take many weeks of hard work to put this together. And if you ever make a Flare On challenge, you're like, yeah, I've made a Flare On challenge. It's not over, because you still have to do the write-up, which is this multi-page document where you have to explain how it was meant to be solved and some of the intricacies. So reading through the solutions is very good. And, obviously anybody who finishes Flare On has my utter respect. And, somebody that works on my team actually finished it twice in a row, and then we hired him.
Good foot in the door.
Frankfurt,
yes,
Germany.
I think
he's awesome.
I think a lot of people, are trying to figure out how to get in there and what the Flare team does, how to get in front of them. So working on the Flare On challenge, I'm sure we're doing it again this year. And then during the episode, we also mentioned FlareCon this year. So that's another way to come and meet with people, take their training, learn and meet some of the people behind the puzzles. So I've never finished it myself. All right, I should have said that. I gotta try. I suck. I gotta up level. But no, thanks Dominik for being on and traveling in to chat with us.
It was my pleasure. It's fun to talk to you in person.
Cheers, man.
Yay!
We'll see you soon, and you'll see him all the time. Places like that. See ya.
Thanks.